All right, good afternoon. Yeah, I know I'm not up there yet, but good afternoon. I'm getting there. Uh, Hold on, I'm coming in here. I got to do everything right. And got to get rid of that. All right, there we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. Um, Hold on. Okay. Got to say what's up to the people. Robert Willis in the house. Good afternoon, Robert. Anthony in the house. Good afternoon, Anthony. Myosha in the house. Good afternoon. Hold on. You saying something wrong with the sound? Oh, I sound happy. um, Bonita in the house. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Y'all notice the cough is almost all the way gone? It's been a whole month, but the cough is almost all the way gone. My voice holds out a lot longer. I'm getting better, y'all. I'm getting better. Um, it's been a month. Like it's been legit. It's been a month. Um, all right. I got a few things that I want to talk about today. A few things that I need to get off my chest. I think it's gonna be a quick show. I think it's gonna be a short show. Um, I'm not promising that though. Hold on, stop, close you, open you. All right. I think I got the phones up. All right. Um, let's see. Got Lewis or CK. CK in the house. CK say Corey Dillon is not dead. Who said he was? I don't remember anyone saying it. You might have said it at some point. But all right. Hold on. Fame says he's over here early. He ready to talk that stuff. Hold on. Let me get this. Cause I got a feeling y'all gonna be talking crazy and the little baby don't need to hear it. The little baby don't need to hear y'all crazy talk. Wrong ear. I guess it helps if you put it in the right ear. All right. Hold on. Let's see. All right. I should be able to hear y'all, and she won't hear y'all. All right. So if y'all start talking crazy, like if Ron called, then we should be okay. As y'all can tell, it's Black History Month. I did a little something different with the background, you know. Try to, do a little something different to commemorate. I don't know that that's the right word. To recognize different things. Melinda, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's see. LaDonna, good afternoon. Good afternoon. We got Preston in the house. Good afternoon, Preston. Good afternoon. CK, what time you want me to call? CK, the line is open. You can call whenever you want to call. Tria in the house. I guess she finished bullying me. Tria was bullying me earlier today. Bullying me big time. I felt intimidated. She legit bullied and intimidated me. But welcome to the show. None of that bullying stuff today. None of that bullying stuff. She's representing Columbia Township. We got Regina in the house. Regina in the house. Good afternoon. She's representing Madisonville. Brenda. Good afternoon, Brenda. Erica representing Reading. Good afternoon, Erica. Let's see. Phyllis. I say Phyllis. Yeah, Phyllis. Phyllis in the house. Good afternoon. All right, let me get right to it. Let me get right to it. Again, I think this is going to be a short show. Um, People, because we still talking about the kids down in Cincinnati who was doing things they ain't got no business doing. I want to be clear. They're wrong. They're wrong. The kids are wrong. They should be, because I understand some people have been arrested, and they should be held accountable for their actions. Okay? I'm saying all of this stuff at the top. Because I was hearing people today talking about people making excuses and justifying. I haven't heard that. But I want to be clear. Those kids were wrong. And they need to be held accountable. Okay? We all got that. That's how I feel, genuinely and sincerely. But now let me I've also heard a few times today, a few people who hold on, this thing is getting on my nerves. I gotta adjust it so that it go on here right. But I run it up my back and all that kind of stuff, but the cord is not, so it keep flopping around. It's irritating me. It's irritating me. I might have to choke somebody. But I've heard people all day today, kind of without knowing it, without recognizing what they're doing, encouraging violence. I heard it yesterday, and I've heard it today. Oh, when I was growing up, we got into fights. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Oh, if you got beef with somebody and then you meet up with them and y'all handle it that way, ain't nothing wrong with that. All that kind of stuff I've been hearing. I heard, when people talk reckless. I was listening to Wyatt, and I heard my good friend Marquetta call in. I say she's my good friend. I think we only met like once, but we've talked a lot, and I got love for Marquetta. I really do. Even though she claimed I couldn't, get it if I wanted to, but I'm telling you I could. I just don't want to. But I'm picking with her just because that's what I do. And I heard her calling in to Wyatt's show, telling Wyatt, oh, people talk S from a safe place, like we just supposed to take it, like you ain't supposed to put hands on them. I saw Wyatt, who I'm a probably jack it up, but I'm gonna steal his statement. I got nothing but love for Wyatt, and if you got a problem with it, don't fit. It don't fit. If you got a problem with Wyatt, you got a problem with me. He says if you got a problem with E, you got a problem with me. It rhymed. Mine didn't rhyme. But it's the same concept, all right? He held up boxing gloves and stuff. He want to take people in the ring who's saying stuff. It's not violence, it's a sport. It's violence, it's a violent sport. And we got all of these people talking about how bad violence is while they're encouraging violence. And then we look at these kids, and I know it's not the same, Emanuel. It's not the same. Violence is violence. How do you encourage violence, but then say, but I don't encourage that violence? How? I mean, I'm for punching people if they say stuff you don't like. Hear what you're saying. I am for punching people if they say stuff that I don't like. That's different, ain't it? It's different, Emanuel. That's different. It's not. If you encourage violence, again, Who are you to tell people how far to take violence? If it's okay to punch somebody that said something that you didn't like, it should be all right to kick them, right? If it's all right to kick them, then it should be all right to like hit them with a bat, right? I mean, it's just a different violence. But it's still violence and you cool with that. And if I can hit you with a bat, well, I can stab you. What? It's not that big of a leap. If I can stab you, I can certainly shoot you. But why are you doing all of this? Because they said something I didn't like. I think we, the community, have to make a decision. Is violence bad? Is violence wrong? Either we are for violence or we're against violence. I don't know. And if y'all know me, if y'all been listening to me and my commentary for years, y'all know this is something I've been talking about for years. When Doug and Lincoln and all the old heads used to be like, when I was growing up, when we got in the fist fights, that was fine, but now they shooting each other. Oh, they need to just fight. Y'all are touting the virtues of violence. But then y'all mad when we see the outcome of violence. I was halfway expecting the older dudes to be like, well, at least they didn't shoot nobody. They just punching people and kicking them. That's what we've been asking them to do for 40 years. They finally doing it. I support them young boys. I halfway expected that. I know it was 10-on-1, but they didn't shoot him. That's good. Either violence is good or violence is bad. We got to make a decision. I don't know that it's good to say to young people, hey, violence is good. If you say something I don't like, come and fight me. And then 10 minutes later, like, yeah, violence is bad. I don't know that it's good to say to people, hey, if people talk reckless to you and they get on your nerves, it's all right to put hands on them. That's being violence. It's all right to put hands on them. But violence is bad. Hold on. I'm not there yet, D. I'm not there yet. So we either need to decide, DS is self-defense violence. I'm not there yet. I'm getting there. So yeah, we need to decide. Are we for violence just because somebody say something you don't like? Because somebody insult you? Because somebody get on your nerves? Because somebody agitate you? Are we okay with violence in that case? Because if we are, who's to say what agitates me? If you look at me the wrong way, that could agitate me. And then violence is okay, right? No, it's wrong. Now, here's where I'll say violence is wrong. But if someone commits an act of violence against you and you have to use violence to protect yourself, I understand that. I'm not trying to die because I believe violence is wrong. I just won't, if nobody's violent towards me, I won't be violent towards anyone else. But you can't use that logic. when you are extolling the virtues of violence. When you are looking back on your violence lovingly and longingly. Oh, I wish we could get back to the time when we was fighting Avondale and Bond Hill or downtown in the Fay or whoever was fighting. I don't know. I don't know all the city beefs. I was protected from all of that stuff. But I don't know that you can, just for me, you can't have it both ways. And what you're talking about is not different. It's violence. I wonder where these kids get it from. It must be the home. It's their mama. It's they this. They might just be listening to the radio or to a podcast of people who are supposed to be older and wiser encouraging acts of violence. And a lot of these people really just talking. They just talking out of frustration and all that kind of stuff. But really, I really want y'all to think about this. How can I say to young people, don't be violent, if I'm always talking about how violence is justifiable? And again, not justifiable, a justifiable way of defending yourself. But violence is justifiable because somebody said something you didn't like. And then we watching these videos like, well, they didn't do nothing. We don't know what they did, right? They might have said something. And according to a lot of y'all, that's justification for violence. Well, what we did was one-on-one. That don't make it better. It's still violence. So we would have been all right if in that video, the quote-unquote innocent white man was just walking down the street minding his own business and somebody socked him one-on-one. And then that one person stomped him. We'd have been cool with that. Stop playing. Stop playing. We wouldn't have been. Tria said, did somebody threaten to whoop your A today? No, but I heard a lot of violent talk today. None of it was directed at me except for what you said. That felt like a threat of violence. But other than what you said, none of it was directed at me. It was just, some of it was just in general, which to me is even worse. When ain't nobody even said nothing to you. Ain't nobody said nothing about you. You just saying, in general, if somebody say something that you don't like and that irritates you, it's all right to put hands on them. It's all right to hit them, to fight them, to beat them up. Technically, you didn't threaten me, Tria, but I learned today that it's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it. How you say something is apparently nonverbal communication. And nonverbal communication is 90% of communication. So while you didn't technically threaten violence on me, it's the way you said it. And apparently, that's much more important than what you said. I heard a genius say that today. But, I mean, I'm here to stand up for the kids. Even them kids that's doing wrong. I'm not standing up for what they did. I'm standing up for it's the parents' fault, and it's to this and it's to that. It's all these people's faults. It might be all of our fault. Look, I've been guilty. I've been guilty of, getting a little bothered by somebody. I do this or I do that, or somebody talking a whole lot of stuff, and I've been guilty of it. But it's just funny to me, and really, a part of me laughs, a part of me weeps. If I'm talking about not committing acts of violence, and I preface my comments praising acts of violence, justifying acts of violence, normalizing acts of violence. And then I talk about how bad the violence was that I just saw. And then I bookend it, justifying acts of violence and maybe even threatening acts of violence against someone. And just an outsider, especially a young person, kind of peeking in and seeing it. It's like, they saying don't be violent, but at the same time, they're saying violence is okay. And I really think we do it without even thinking about the message that we send in. I told myself I was going to calm down today and not talk at an elevated level and all that stuff. And okay, here becomes my question. And I see people want to hold parents accountable. Apparently, they don't want them to go to prison. I was exaggerating yesterday, apparently. Even though I've heard people talking, literally saying, send the parents to jail. But apparently, Wyatt said, ain't nobody saying send these parents to jail. Even though I know I heard it. Maybe I heard it wrong. Maybe I heard it wrong. So, okay. They don't want them to go to jail. What does holding the parents accountable look like? Okay, we arrest, let's say, a 14-year-old who was in a group of 10 kids who jumped somebody. We find them, we arrest them, we go grab the parent, or we contact the parent. What does that look like to hold that parent accountable? I'm asking, what does that look like? Everybody want to hold parents accountable, but I want to. If you are on board with that, tell me what it looks like to you. I'm not telling you you're right. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I might agree. I might disagree. I'm just asking, though, for the sake of the conversation, what does it look like to hold the parents accountable? What does that look like? Now, Jason says he's one of the ones who said sending the parents to jail. He said that because parents don't want to go to jail. And therefore, he thinks parents would make sure their children are behaving because they don't want to go to jail. I understand that thought process, but do you allow for the reasonable Counter argument to that being, they don't know that their kids are out there doing bad stuff. They didn't raise their kids to do bad stuff. They have no idea that their kids are doing bad stuff. Their kids don't come home and say, hey, mama, I just jumped somebody with 9 other people. Their kids come home and act like they've done nothing wrong. Their kid might even be a quote unquote good kid around a group of not good kids. What's funny? I heard you laughing. I'm pretty sure I did. So what about that kid? Or what about, as I heard somebody say earlier today, I think it was Wyatt. What about the parent who got 4 kids, 3 of whom are doing, they're perfect like Myosha, but one out there being a knucklehead every once in a blue moon, and their parent don't know it. They get straight A's, but they do something wrong. You want them to go to jail because somehow you think that's going to encourage them to make sure that the one don't do anything wrong. And do you really think, let me ask you this, could your parent have made sure that you never did anything wrong? I'm going to assume you're not Myosha and that you were not perfect as a child. Jason, I believe you may have done 1 or 2 things wrong in your life. Everything that you ever did wrong, you telling me your parents could have made sure you didn't do? I'm asking the question. Jason says, of course not. So then how is sending parents to jail? Because now we're dealing with what's apparently the extreme. How is sending parents to jail gonna make them do something that you acknowledge is impossible for them to do? What's the benefit of punishing somebody for not doing the impossible? Just help me understand that. Well, I know it's impossible for you to make sure that your child never does anything wrong, but if your child ever does anything wrong, you go into jail. So that's incentive for you to make sure that your child never does anything wrong, which I know is impossible. I don't understand that logic. But other than that, other than the go to jail, and I believe Jason, he's been responding. He'll put something in the chat and he'll help me understand it. Because you might win me over. I don't think so. But you never know. You might win me over. Jason says, parents are going to have to know where their kids are 100% of the time. But you know that's impossible, right? Or do you think that's possible? Anthony says, depends on history. I would say some of these children already have some sort of a history. Before they get to the point we see today, might be a good remedy for all, but it could wake some parents up. Okay. I'm not sure what point you think we're at today. Can you elaborate on that for me, Anthony? Because I think I'm in the minority when I say I think the overwhelming majority of our young people, white, black, and all, are young people. The overwhelming majority are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So what point do you think we're at today? And I would argue that of that overwhelming majority that are doing the right thing, their parents don't know where they are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For those of y'all who are saying, because Jason says it's possible, Jason, let's give you a cell phone in high school. Did you ever skip school? Anybody in here ever skip school? Just one day. Even just one day. I skipped one day. One day. I knew my mama was at work. So Jason says yes. So you're telling me if you'd had a cell phone that day, like did you convinced your mom, your pops, whoever, that you were going to school? You telling me that entire time your parents should have known exactly where you were? Because when you say 24 hours a day, that leaves not a second where a parent doesn't know where their child is. And really think of how unreasonable that expectation is. It's like we're trying to set impossible expectations. We're trying to set impossible expectations and then hold people to them and then punish them if they don't meet them. Some of this stuff is just not reasonable. So it's not a viable solution to the problem. Which again, I think I'm on record as saying ain't no solution to the problem. But some of these are not a viable solution to a problem. They just sound good. It's like venting frustration. Ooh, I'm frustrated. Ooh, I'm frustrated. If we could just know where our kids are every second of every day for their entire lives. Yeah, some of it is just venting. Is venting masquerading as a solution? But Jason, you believe that it's possible to know exactly where your child is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every minute of every hour, and every second of every minute, you will know exactly where your child is. And if you don't, you're not a responsible parent and you should be punished. Come on. That's not logical or reasonable. It's just not. Mary says, stop, E-Man. Stop what? Stop being honest? Stop trying to be realistic? That's all I'm doing is trying to be realistic. That's all I'm doing. He says it can be done. See, Mary, it's not, y'all like that. It's not me. He says it can be done. It can't reasonably be done. In all honesty, in order to do that, you'd have to be with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every minute of every hour, every second of every minute. So then you couldn't go to work. That's all. Let's be reasonable. Jason, what you're saying is not reasonable. Which is why I'm asking other people who may be more reasonable than that. Jason says, with both parents, it can be done. So you're going to just sit in class next to your kid. He in the 9th grade science class, you just sit next to him. He go to the locker, you stand next to him. You walk next to him. You go to the bathroom, you stand there, you watch. You go walk to the bus stop. You walking with him. You stand at the bus stop. 2 bus fares. It's not reasonable. It's not reasonable. So, okay, enough of that. I think most reasonable people recognize that's not reasonable, which why I asked the second question. So, short of expecting the impossible, Jason says you show up at the school unannounced, then you don't know exactly where they were between the time that they got on the bus and got to school. You don't know exactly where they were, Jason. It's not reasonable. It's not reasonable. It's just not. So then what does holding them accountable look like? What does it look like? What are we saying, honestly, should happen to, because I think Tria says they arrested 4 other parents. What are we hoping happens to those parents? And let's assume, for the sake of argument, it's the same kids. It's the same kids. They jumped the white man who was like Myosha, a perfect angel, never did anything wrong. And they jumped the young guy, looked like a young male, who never did anything wrong. They've all just random people minding their own business. I don't know. That's what's being reported. I'm not saying it's not the case. I'm not saying it is. I'm sorry if I misstated Tria. She's trying to bully me again. They arrested the kids, not the parents. So what do we want to see happen? If they arrested 4 of them, that means they can figure out who their parents are. What do we want to see happen to their parents? That's what I'm asking. What do we want to see happen to their parents? Janice says, if a parent is not responsible for that minor child, who is? The child. Mary says, okay, let's say they jumped you. What would you like to see happen? I'd like to see them held accountable. I wouldn't want their parents to go to jail. If I had any medical bills, then I want the parents to pay for the medical bills. But I don't want them to go to jail. I'm asking y'all, what do y'all want to see happen? Mary says the child is underage. Right, that's what the parents are going to be held financially liable for their actions if they do anything wrong. But people are not talking about just holding them financially liable. If that's all people were talking about, I really wouldn't have a problem with that, because that's reasonable. That's very much reasonable. If this little one right here take a rock and bust out somebody's window, her mama is responsible. Her mama got to pay for that window. But that's not what people are asking. People aren't talking about financial responsibility. People are talking about what Jason is talking about. Charging the parents. But charging them with what? What do we want to? I know you want to charge them with some crime and send them to jail, Jason. So I'm not asking you. Carolyn says, so what does holding the parents accountable look like to you, Emanuel, even though she spelled my name terribly wrong? It's right there on the name of the show. You can see it. Like, you can even just copy and paste it. There's no reason to misspell my name. It's intentional, Carolyn. It's intentional. It's disrespect is what it is. And you know, in today's society, disrespect, somebody got to lay hands on you. Y'all see how ridiculous that sounds? That's what people say. But what does it, again, holding them accountable to me looks like, yeah, if I had some medical bills or something like that, you got to pay them. That's what holding parents accountable looks like to me. Not charging them with some sort of a crime. Now, look, if you can prove that the parents knew that their children was going out to physically assault somebody and encouraged it, then maybe charge them with something related to that. They're an accomplice to some degree if that's the case. But my guess is more than likely it's just some parents doing the best that they can, and they got some kids that are making some bad decisions. You alert them. Once they get arrested, then now these parents know my kids is out there making bad decisions. I know y'all think some of y'all think every kid that's out here making bad decisions, they parents already know. But I'm telling you, that's not the case. Everybody, all the parents who are making excuses for their kids' bad behavior, they're not necessarily trying to make excuses for their kids' bad behavior. What they're doing is they're saying, I didn't know my kid was out there doing that. When you hear them say, like Lincoln liked to say, he a good boy. That's because that's what they think. They honestly think that their child is a good child. Now, of course, it's not. I'm sure some people know their kid ain't good. But some don't. And this will be an eye-opener, like, what you laughing about? You laughing at something. Antoine got arrested? What? What Antoine do? They have no idea. And they like, Antoine, you out there showing your ass. Look, I believe like y'all, like a lot of y'all, parenting is an issue. Parenting is an issue. I don't know how to fix the issue. I don't know how. I wish all kids could be perfect like Myosha. Yesterday, for those of y'all who wasn't here, Myosha said growing up from the ages of birth to 18, she literally never did one thing wrong in her life. Not wrong or illegal. Never. Not once. I wish we could all say that. I believe her. She got no reason to lie. She got no reason to lie. Melinda says, they say he's a good boy because he's a good boy when he's around them. It's just that simple. But once they leave, he's still a good boy, but he might go make the wrong decision. Right, so that they're not lying from their perspective. Most times, probably not. Don't text me your mama number. Quintano say, damn, even Jesus ran off. Nah, Myosha. Myosha was a better child than Jesus. Just take her word for it. Or you could call her mama. I'm gonna leave you alone, Myosha. I am. Rika, hey, how you doing? I like seeing people that I know on here. I know Janice says, yes, the parent does have some liability. If the child is under 16 and they are out past 10 p.m. running the street on a regular basis, a parent could/should be cited for negligence. Refer the parents to JAFS, just a suggestion. I don't like that suggestion. Because I was under 16 out past 10 p.m. If I didn't have school the next day, why I got to be in at 10? We used to hang out, walk and talk and laugh and play. Why would my parent have to be cited for negligence? And yes, we were out during the summer on a regular basis. Regular basis. After 10. So my mama should be in trouble? Janice says, in trouble? You didn't say in trouble. You just said running the streets. But we did get harassed by the police. So we could have got in trouble. We weren't doing nothing wrong, but we could have got in trouble. We was playing while black. Mike.
Good afternoon, Emanuel.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to suggest a solution to this problem regarding the parents and their responsibility of their delinquent or criminal or wayward children. Children are children.
All right.
First of all, let me just mention this. This just happened to come into my head. You know, they talk about bullies. Bullying is always going to be there. Siblings bully each other. And when they go to school, they bully classmates. So it's a normal thing. They do that.
Okay.
And they'll do that throughout their childhood. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Just for the sake of argument, yes. Of course,
okay.
I'm saying this accepting that no one thing applies across the board to everyone. So we're just being reasonable.
Because I was not a bully in school. As a matter of fact, I was the person who took up for the people being bullied. Not always outwardly, because sometimes I was afraid. I was afraid of the bully sometimes. But in my mind, I was always with the person being bullied, to keep it real, okay?
Okay.
All right, now getting to the parental thing. Regarding this case of the two incidents downtown, look at the children's school record. Do they come to school every day? Most days. What are their grades like? So I'll give an example. Say one of the children that was involved in this. Oh, they're very truant, and their grades are. You can tell, I can tell, and I'm not a professional investigator. If I went into one of these children's homes, if I was an investigator, I could ask the right questions to find out whether the parents have something to do with the actions of the children. So let's say the mother, she's got two jobs. One job that's really good. She makes $35 an hour. She works at Ford.
Oh, okay.
But she's got another job too, because she's a single parent.
All right.
I said, okay. Do you have other children in the home? Yeah, there's one other child. There's my 16-year-old son that was involved in this situation, and then there's an 8-year-old. Okay. And then you just use your own visual inspection. You look around the home. That will give you an idea as to whether or not the parents are negligent, to put it mildly.
Okay, people are
What do you think of
asking.
that?
People are asking. You keep saying ask the right questions. What are the right
Yeah.
questions?
Okay. Does your child do their homework? That's one. And if the answer is, I don't really know. Okay, another question. Are you involved with your child's, to what degree are you involved with your child's life? And they'll answer whatever they're, to that question. Another question. Has your child ever engaged in confrontation with you that you felt was out of control or dangerous? And they'll answer that question and question other questions. And the same way with the school system. Find out who that child is. Now, let's say one of those kids involved in this, they just sort of got caught up because they like hanging with the people they're hanging with. And they say, oh, he's always in school and he makes good grades. And we never have any problem out of him in school. And then you go to the home and find the same thing. If there's no way in the world I would have thought my child would do this. We go over homework together. We talk about things. Then, as adults, we realize, oh, this child is just wanting to hang out with the people he shouldn't be. I did that before when I was young. I hung with a few people that I shouldn't have when I was 15 and 16.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything criminal. So I think that is a very simple and good solution to it. Investigate the child's background at their school and at their home. And then any judge that, because see, I know a lot about the judicial system, but I'm thinking and hoping that a judge is a person who reads between the lines and looks at mitigating circumstances and makes his judgment accordingly.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think that sounds good.
Okay.
But I think that would take a whole lot of resources that people don't necessarily want to commit to. Because I mean, it all depends on what you're saying. Like you're saying, any kid who get arrested, or
No.
any kid who get in trouble, or you're saying every
No.
child. Like, who are you going into their houses and asking all of these questions and whatnot? What precipitates you going to somebody's house asking them questions about their kid?
That's a good question. I didn't think any further than the gang related violence. I didn't think past that. I didn't think to the point of a child who goes into a store and steals something and gets caught. So I didn't think that far.
So
and maybe I should have.
No, but from your perspective, you're saying, all right, these 10 kids who jumped these innocent people, you're saying,
Yes.
Send somebody to their houses once you find who they are and everything, interview the parents, and then you deal with them based on that. So what would be your criteria for saying, all right, you as a parent are not fit, and once you determine that parent is not fit, what happens?
Well, I wouldn't tell them they're not fit. Say there's neglect, there's negligence there.
All right.
And it would be based on the school and the home. If the school is saying, this is a great kid, we're shocked that they're even in this kind of trouble. And if the parent says the opposite, or if your investigation leads you to see that what the parent is saying isn't matching up with what the school is saying. If the school is saying they're a great kid, and 9 times out of 10, if the school is saying they're a great kid, the parents are going to say they're a great kid. I can't see a good kid in school making good grades, great attendance. All the teachers love him, but yet and still the parent is saying, this child is rotten. That could happen, but I don't see that happening from a logical perspective. But I can see the school saying, this child is a troublemaker, and the parent saying, oh, this child is a good kid. I can see that.
So what happens then once we realize the kid is not a good kid and the parents are, what was the term you used? Neglectful.
Neglect.
Then what happens?
Now that I don't know. I don't think they should go to jail.
All right.
Definitely not. But I think there is an area where help can come. If you realize this child gets very little attention from its parents, and they have trouble in the neighborhood with their neighbors, and the parent doesn't give them things that will give to that doesn't nurture their growing up with clothing, food.
Let's say for the sake of argument, this is one of them not so good parents, because there are parents out there who don't really do a good job of raising their kids. They just don't.
Absolutely.
They cuss them out.
Absolutely.
They don't really do much for them. I'm being a little stereotypical here. They listening to Sexy Red right along with the kid. They listening to the worst gangster rap. And that kid is out there emulating it, and the parent is out there trying to emulate it. Then what?
That's when you ease the punishment on the child. Ease that punishment on the child. I'm not saying take it away, but ease it, and hold the parent in some type of parental neglect arena. And what that would look like now, that I don't know, but that would be the start.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think it's too many unknowns. It's too many, I don't know. I don't have the answers to say that it's a solution.
So, I mean, what are a couple of unknowns?
Well, the big unknown is when you said, all right, we find out that this is basically just a horrible parent. So I don't know what to do from there. You can't, It can't be the solution if once we find out the problem, the answer is, oh no.
Well, you got to get to first base. Then you say, okay, we got first base. Now, what does second base look like? That's where I'm coming from.
What does second base look like?
See, so
like, are we taking kids from their parents? Are we taking 15-year-olds from their bad parents? Like, you ain't fit to be a parent. You don't get to be the parent to this kid. Put them in a foster home or what? No,
it would depend. Now, in the example I gave, if you got a parent, they're working at Ford, making $35 an hour, and they've got another job because they want a kind of lifestyle they want. So they got another job. They make $15 an hour, part-time. And
we fire them from the Ford job because they're not a good parent.
I know. I'm going to paint the not good parent, even though they have resources. See, they've got resources, but they're still a bad parent. They don't care about their child.
So we take their resources, right?
Say that again?
So we take their resources.
Oh, no, don't take their resources. But now let's look at the other side. it's a parent who works at a fast food place. They make $15 an hour, $13 an hour, whatever. They got 3 or 4 kids.
Okay.
And they're barely making it.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm going to go a little easy on the parent now, because people can get stressed out. They can feel almost hopeless, but they're still trying to raise their kids. Their house is dirty, okay? But they've got food in the refrigerator. But you can tell there's neglect of the children going on just by looking around. It doesn't take
This looked like neglect.
a very intelligent person to see that.
Right.
See, so you have to weigh things almost on a case by case basis.
And what do we do then? All right, we've identified neglect. We've identified this parent is neglectful, and that's why this kid is out here jumping people in the street. What do we do?
We put the parents on probation. We say, listen, now this is to the parent that's got 4 kids and working at McDonald's, okay?
All right.
Listen, we understand life is hard for you. Life is hard for a lot of people. But we're going to have to put you on probation because your children are your responsibility. Do you want to raise your children? You got these 4 children. You got a 16-year-old out there beating up people. Do you want to raise your children? Oh, yes, I want to raise my child.
Want to raise
okay,
my
well, we're gonna put you on probation. And these are the areas we expect to see improvement. Now, we realize you only make $15 an hour. You got 4 kids. So I'm not saying you got to dress them all in new clothes and but here's what you need to do. Uh-huh. You need to keep a clean environment for your children.
Right. But what does this probation consist of that's going to stop this kid from jumping people?
Well, then,
look, Michael, to be completely honest, we don't care if the kid eat. We don't care if the kid got on clean clothes. We don't care what the living situation looked like. Here's what we care about. He out in the street jumping old white men. What are you going to do to stop the kid from jumping old white men in the street?
Well, my thought process is, if this kid does it, another kid will do it, and another kid will do it. So what can we do to keep these kind of things from happening? Not just this particular kid. So then we talk to the child, and we ask the child, why are you doing this?
But we talking about consequences for the parents. All of the social service stuff is cool, but what are the consequences for the parents?
Probation.
And what does probation look like? Like, are we saying, look, you on probation. If that little MF jump one more old white man, you going to jail. Like, what are we saying? What does probation look like?
Well, in the investigation, if the parent is saying things like, I don't know what they're doing. I ain't got nothing to do with them out in the streets. I don't have anything to do with that. I'm trying to feed them. Okay, then that means you don't want to be a parent if you do not accept the responsibility for their actions, not for what they did, but even for who they are. In other words, you're not even worried about them doing it next week.
Right. So what do we do? Because I asked you earlier, like, do we take the kid out the home and you ain't raising this 15-year-old right? They going in foster care. What do we do?
That's a good question, King of Talk. That's a very good question. And I'll continue to ponder it.
Okay.
I don't know. But the first base is do the investigation in the school, because this child may be one that just like to hang with the crowd, the bad crowd. They make good grades and everything. They go to school every day. It could have been he just caught up that one time. He said, I'm going to skip school with you guys, okay? And they do that. See, they skip school and this event happens. You do nothing to the child. The child was caught up in something that they normally would not do. But if you see, if the school says this child is a troublemaker, when they don't come to school, we're happy. Now you've got to punish the child.
And the parent.
And the parent.
Because that's what this is all about. People want to see parents punished.
Only punish the parent if they played a role in their child being this way.
Oh man,
they never get involved with the child. They don't do anything with the child.
Apparently, you being soft, man. That's not. People want to see the parents punished, no matter what. Your kid got out there and jumped somebody, you get punished for it to some degree. I'm just not sure what that degree is in people's minds yet.
I'm going to tell you why people feel that way. Because they have a low self-image.
Oh.
When a person has a low self-image, they will reflect that on the people with whom they're involved. A person with a low self-image will say things like, I wish a person would say something to me. See, that's low self-image. Yeah, if somebody come in my house, I'm gonna empty my gun on them. That's a low self-image.
Is it?
It absolutely is.
Somebody breaking your house.
If somebody broke in my house, if I had a gun, the last thing I would want to do is shoot them. It wouldn't be like, oh yeah, now you gonna get it. No, I would do what I have to do. If that meant shooting them, I would. But preferably, I wish I could shoot them in the leg. But I wouldn't be thinking about that if someone broke in my house. I'm thinking about this person is going to harm my family,
right? And
I've got to stop them.
Right.
So yeah.
But that don't mean that you have a low self-image.
Well, it only means it's a low self-image if you're saying things like, I wish a person would break in my house. See, that's low self-image talk. The thing is, man, I hope nobody ever breaks in my house. That's good self-image because you care about the person. You care about yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish somebody would step on my shoes when I go to this party. Why would you wish that?
Okay.
See, that's low self-image.
Okay. I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's good. I would like to learn martial arts. And the reason is because I'm too old to fight, and if somebody did something to me that I felt was life-threatening, I would have to do something to them that might kill them. Oh. Like pick something up and hit them with something that might kill them. I don't want to do that. I would like to take martial arts to the point where I could disarm them without killing them. Not, I'm going to break their neck. I know karate. No.
Bro.
I want to be able to disarm a person without killing them.
Michael, I understand that mentality, that idea, but, bro, you better just don't be trying to karate people with weapons and all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. Run. And if you got something to use, commence the whooping ass the best you can. Yeah. But don't be, even if you know martial arts, bro, don't be trying to karate people. No.
Okay.
Get away. That stuff.
That's sound advice.
Yeah, that stuff look good on TV, when the in the karate movie and they going out and what's the black dude name? Ja something white or whatever. And he doing spinning roundhouse kicks kick the gun out the hand and all that kind of stuff. In real life, he'd be shot and dead.
Michael J. White.
Yeah, he'd be dead trying that stuff in real life against somebody with a gun.
But see, that's what I would like to be able to do. See, because I have a good self-image, and I have a good self-image for my people. I don't want my people to die.
Yes.
But in reality, like I said, if something detrimental happened to my family or me, I would do something to try to kill them.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't really want to, but that would be the action I would take, and I wish I wouldn't have to do that. And if I knew martial arts, maybe I wouldn't have to. But you're right. I understand what you're saying. But
I'm just about to say.
Self-image is
Hey, I appreciate your call. I gotta run.
Hey, go ahead.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
bye.
All right. He had some good ideas. But some of that stuff sound good, I think. Some of that stuff sound good. But I don't know. But I still want to know what y'all want to see happen to these parents. That's kind of what I'm stuck on. What do y'all want to see happen to these parents? It was something else that I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what it was. I was about to say it, and talking to Michael, it slipped my mind. I can't remember what it was. Daggone it. But yeah, that's really, I just want to know what y'all want to see happen. Mary say, we told you and you don't agree. What did y'all tell me? The only thing that anyone's told me so far was Jason want to see him go to jail. But I was told earlier today people don't want to see him go to jail. So then what are people wanting to see? Stephanie says, Wyatt said, fine them financially. Hit that pocketbook. Okay. Who coming up with the fine? What's the fine? What's the fine for your kids stealing? You have to pay for the thing, whatever the thing is that they stole. Okay. And then what's the fine on top of that? And are these fines going to be proportional? People don't think about this. Say Lincoln Ware's kid get out there and jump somebody. Lincoln Ware's worth $10.5 million versus somebody that's barely making it, living in the hood off of assistance and all of that kind of stuff. Is they fine gonna be the same? Or because in that case, Lincoln Ware's kid can go out there and jump as many people as they want. Don't matter to Lincoln. Here's money. Lincoln making it rain. Here, take the money. Whereas me, now I can't pay my bills. I don't have a place to live anymore. They take my car. Are the fines gonna be, proportionate to the income of the person? Mary says, same fine, same crime. I don't like that. There's no incentive for people making more money to be good. It's disproportionate. My child's bad act is disproportionate. I mean, it has a disproportionate effect on me financially than Lincoln's kid. That ain't right. That ain't fair. Hey, are you gonna have a talk about these kids writing on people's cars slur? The one lady car said something on it about God is not for black people. What's going on with that? Look into it. Well, here's what we can do. I'll make a deal with you. You look into it for me. And then you report back. So you're like a special correspondent for the afternoon experiment. So look into it, find out all the details, and then get back to us. I'm all about empowering people. No, people don't want the kids fined. People want the parents fined for the action. That's what people want. So your kid, my kid and Lincoln kid is both in the same place at the same time. They hanging together. They both stomp an innocent white man. Me and Lincoln get fined. What? How much is the fine for stomping an innocent white man? Somebody tell me. $100, $1,000, $10,000? What's the fine for stomping an innocent white man? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. It's not $4. It is not $4. Innocent white men is worth more than $4. They worth more than $4. What is the fine? But y'all think I'm trying to be silly, but I'm really not. Because when you go to talking about fining people for stuff, you have to put a number on it. You got to put a number on it. You can't just say, if you commit a crime, you get a fine. No, it has to be where you see like up to $5,000 or up to $10,000 in so many years. You got to put a number on it. So y'all talking about fining people? How much is the fine for a parent whose kids stomp an innocent white man? All right, $250. $250. I think white men all over the country would be horribly offended by that, and especially since they're the ones who make the laws, I don't think it would be $250. But let's go with $250. All right? Let's go with $250. It's $250 is the fine. Lincoln spend that on liquor every day. That's nothing. That's one bottle of Special Crown Royal that he don't get to buy today. Nothing to him. For me, I can't afford my rent now. It's got to be some sort of proportion, because in that case, rich kids just get to do whatever the hell they want to do, and poor kids, they messed up. But y'all okay with that? My guess is y'all cool with that. Like, they rich, they get to do whatever they want to do. We all right with that. Rich kids get to beat the S out of people if they want to. And just do the fine. And see, here's the other thing that bothered me. And I see where Nate brought this up. Again, y'all, I lived in Fairfield and Hamilton. Okay? White kids do the same dumb stuff. Like, doing dumb stuff, the black community doesn't corner the market on doing dumb stuff. White kids beat up, punch, and jump innocent people. There's video of it. Matter of fact, I watched, it wasn't a First Amendment audit. It was similar to a First Amendment audit. This was somewhere in Ohio. I can't remember where it was. Not too long ago. Black man went to a bar. I think, did he go in and ask for directions or something like that? As he was leaving, it was a group of young, like, teenagers outside. And as he was leaving, these were white people. As he was leaving, they jumped him. It was caught on video. I don't do no follow-up. I don't know exactly what happened. It was a video I saw. But my point in bringing it up is because we acting like, oh, black kids do this and black kids do that. Stupid kids do stupid stuff, whether they black or not. And it ain't just in America, it's worldwide. I watched a karate movie. Kid, dude walking down the street, minding his own business. Gang of little kids come up, they kicking him. Dude hadn't done nothing. It's not just even here in America. It's all over the world. Now, granted, that was just a movie. I understand that wasn't real. But even the Chinese people recognized, like, hey, young people do stupid stuff. They bother innocent people. Stop y'all acting like this is just young black kids who do this. It's a lot of times just kids across the board. Now we blow it up. It's a big deal when it's black kids doing it. Oh my God, the city is going to hell, and oh, what we gonna do? We gotta do something with these black kids and blah, blah, blah. But it happens across the board. It happens across the board. CK.
Praise the Lord. It don't happen across the board. We the only ones smoke each other and then talking about, well, I'm smoking on the ops. Show me anywhere you gonna find on the internet white boy talking about, I'm smoking on you. We kill so many of our own white folks talking about they smoking on us, smoking on Duck, smoking on Vaughn. Where's the white victims being smoked?
What?
So don't try to put it like, oh, they out. Nah, we on another level.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
This gang, with the gang violence.
There's white gangs
with the
too.
Gang violence.
There are
we
white
killing
gangs
each other.
too.
We celebrating murder.
Look, didn't we just here in this area see a whole family slaughtered? Whole white family slaughtered.
And where's the song celebrating that? And we the ones that celebrate that.
What are you talking about?
We make a whole damn genre of music celebrating the death of our own people. But you don't want to address that when the violence comes. You want to just say, oh, they all do it. No, let's talk about what we do.
Because they all do
I don't
it.
See, that's what we invented. Who?
What?
Where's the genre of music where white folks talk about killing each other?
There's
a whole genre.
There is a
dedicated to it.
There is a genre of music where white people talk about doing acts of violence as well.
And what's the name of that?
I don't know what they call it. They talk about worshiping the
Thank
devil.
you.
Just because I don't know the name of the genre, they talk about worshiping the devil. They talk about hurting people.
That's the thing.
They talk about killing
folks,
people.
And you just made my point. They talk about worshiping the devil.
And hurting and killing people.
When you addressing white,
and hurting and killing people.
Yeah, but when you talking about that kind, you ain't gonna say, well, black people talk about worshiping the devil too. No, you're gonna be like, what's wrong with these white kids talking about worshiping the devil? Don't try to deflect when your kids get called out. White kids worshiping the devil. Well, black folks worship the devil.
Hold on,
no, talk about the white kids worshiping the devil.
Here's why we bring it up. Here's why we bring it up. Because it's easy for people to listen to the news and hear something negative about black people and then apply it to all black people. So the point in saying it ain't just black people is to get it out of black people's head, for me specifically, like you think only black people do it. And I'm telling you, that's not true. You have such a, in this arena, you have a negative view on black people.
Facts. You're not.
No.
You're not
you have a
the
negative view on black people as if we're somehow worse than everybody else. But we're not. We're the same as everybody else.
No, we're not. You just said white kids that worship the devil. That's a white kid thing. So why would you say, well, you couldn't lump black kids with that? That's what white kids are known for. Black kids are known for killing each other and making songs about it. But you don't want, but when that come up, that's why you the only one didn't know what drill music is. Everybody else do, because you're in denial. Because you want to deny the evilness that the young people do.
Who's denying it? You missed the beginning of the show. You missed the beginning of the show. At the beginning of the show, I was super clear. It's wrong. They shouldn't have did it. They get caught, they should be punished. That's not denying anything. I'm acknowledging it, as a matter of fact. I just refuse to believe that only black kids do bad stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you on that. So I do agree. That's what I said. Don't lump me in and say, yeah, I'm just giving you certain situations you gotta isolate, just like you said. That's great idea. You could make a whole topic about the white kids worshiping the devil. But when you talk
hold on,
about that,
stop.
you can't
I
say,
didn't
well,
just say that they worship the devil. What I said was there's a genre of music in which they worship the devil and talk about acts of violence. So I brought that up because you said black people have a whole genre of music where they talk about violence. So do white people. It's not
that's the whole
just
point.
black
I'm trying
people.
to hold on. So what do you think we got that from? It's from that. That's the seed of the devil music.
What difference do it
when
matter
they-
where
when the
we
white
got it
kids was-
from? And you were making the point that only black people celebrate when black people hurt black people. No other culture does that. And I'm telling you, that's not true.
You can't name one song with a white boy talk
I don't
about
listen to that
killing
music.
another white dude.
I don't listen to that music. I probably can't name one song where black people are talking about it either. I'm not plugged into hip hop. So because I can't name it mean it don't exist?
No, I'm just saying if it did, like the Menendez brothers, they do exist. They did go running their mouth about killing their parents. So they did go to prison. So yes, you would hear about those cases. Those are high profile cases when you murder somebody and make a song about it. That's a way to get caught.
You hear about the high profile stuff. Like my brother keep pointing out that apparently, and I didn't see this on the news, there was a young man or a man who cut his daddy's head off on YouTube. Have you seen or heard about that on the news?
Nope.
So this is, and CK, this is my point. If I can highlight the negative of your community over and over and over again, while ignoring the negative of my community, I give your community a black eye while preserving the eyes of my community. We're doing the same bad stuff, but we can look at your community and you guys are evil, so we can perpetuate a stereotype about your community and ignore the same things. And then the thing about that is we perpetuate the stereotype, and then you know what happens after so much time? Your community begins to say, well, I don't care about what the other community is doing. Our community is the worst.
Right.
When they're all the same. I've just shone a light on your community doing it and ignored my community doing it. And that's what I don't like. I'm not saying that black people don't need help. We all need help. I just don't like the idea that there are so many in the black community who seem to begin to believe all of the negative stereotypes about the black community.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of us.
I did want to just. Now, you made a fair point. I got to give you credit. You made a fair point. But far as the violence, like you said, you have to. Nonviolence is the key. Like you said, you have to walk away. Dr. King did have it right, but it's harder to walk away. You know what I mean? It's harder. It's easier to fight, but like you said, fights leads to gunplay.
It can, yeah.
So we got to avoid the fights. That's what people got to realize. You got to avoid the violence, because violence just, because some people don't fight. Because what if you get into an altercation with somebody that don't fight? What, you just going to smack them? And what you think that's going to lead to? Murder. Another murder. You don't put your hands on nobody.
Agreed.
And see, that's where they got it wrong. You calling out the old people, rightly so, because they talking about, back in my day, we used to fight. Yeah, back in their day, you used to kill too. And that's the thing too. They don't want to talk about the violence because the murders ain't changed. You got to think, we've been having crack for 40 years. And ever since the crack been out, the violence been high. So you can't really blame the generation, because I think we just as violent. I mean, what you think? You think we just as violent as when we was kids?
I don't know. My mind tells me probably. I mean, the level of, when I say the level, I mean, again, I think guns are much more accessible. So instead of somebody pulling out a switchblade and stabbing somebody, now they can shoot 5 people you know. So do I think maybe acts of violence have increased? But I think that may just be because, advanced weaponry or whatever. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And you got to think. What about when the cocaine influx came to America in the early '80s? We ain't reached them murder numbers still. They still got records in Miami, Florida, and Memphis. It's not like they setting records now. They had records back then. And the guns are more powerful now, but now you got more people with guns, so everybody not trigger happy because they know it's consequences because everybody might have a gun. But the numbers, if you look at the numbers, it ain't changed much. That's what you got to realize too. So when they try to tell you back in my day, your day was worse because that was the beginning of the crack epidemic.
CK, I appreciate your call, sir. I do.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for the call. All right. B-Rap.
Hey, what's going on, E-Man?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, man, I just wanted to say real quick, man, I agree with everything you're saying. And remember last year, it was about 2 years ago, I forgot that lady's name, but she talks with a little raspy voice, and she's gay, and she calls the Lincoln Ware Show. She's a lesbian. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I believe you're talking about D.
D. Yes, I remember D called about 2 years ago. It was something going on in the news, and D didn't even think that white people committed crimes because they never showed it in the news. Do you remember that, E-Man?
I do remember that.
She actually believed that they didn't commit crime, and it was flabbergasting to me. So I'm glad that you pointing out the issues and the disparity from the news media against the black community to keep our crime in a loop. And once they keep our crime... What you said, E-Man? I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. So I'm glad you pointed that out. So why is that? Do you know what reason that is?
I really believe that for whatever reason, we are not, some of us are not plugged into what's going on. And there are enough people telling us that we shouldn't be concerned about what's going on in other communities because what's going on in our communities is so bad. And I think that's an excuse that some people have put out there and, some of us have latched on to. But we just buy into the stereotype. And we don't, because it's not put out there like it could be or should be. It's not harped on like it is when it's us, when it's our children doing bad stuff or our adults doing bad stuff. It's a combination of things going on. And somehow you just get people who they're unaware and they 100% buy into it. It's sad.
Do you back in the early 90s, I don't know if you heard the story, but it was alleged that a group of 9 or 10 people came together to collaborate on making money off the black community through rap music and other forms of entertainment through funding private prisons, investing in private prisons by putting negative stereotypes of music and entertainment pushed towards us. Do you believe that something like that happened?
Yes, I don't believe it happened in the 90s. I mean, I believe maybe some new phase of it may have happened in the 90s, but I think there's always been a effort to capitalize on the black community and put out information and different destructive things into the black community. But yeah, I could easily see somebody saying, okay, look, private prisons might be the way to go, and one way to fill them up is to create a scenario where we normalize violence and debauchery and, put it in an entertainment form and put it in the black community. I could easily see that happening.
Why do you think it's so? Why do you think that the country is so racist, but us we move the needle? I was listening to Jeff. You know who Jeff and Jen is, right?
Who?
Anyway, it's a white radio station, Q102. It's called Jeff and Jen in the morning.
I think I've heard of them, but I've never listened.
Anyway, they was talking about Taylor Swift or whatever, and they was talking about how Taylor Swift should do an interview. And they was like, yeah, she should go on CBS News or Larry King, yada, yada, yada. And I was thinking, like, why don't she go do an interview with Shannon Sharp? Like, you know, they didn't recommend any black media outlets. And to be honest, we moved the needle. If it wasn't for us being an entertainment, it would be dry. It would be dull. I think that, in my opinion, once you put us on the news, people get drawn in. I think 5 black dudes jumping on a black kid is more of a media story than 5 white guys jumping on a black kid. Like, am I wrong on saying that, or what you think?
I'm not sure. I'll say this. Taylor Swift probably shouldn't go on like a Shannon Sharp or nothing like that. I don't think that his audience, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think that his
50 plus million views, all of them views wasn't black.
I don't think that his audience is geared to Taylor Swift's audience.
That's true. That's true. I agree. I'm just saying off the view standpoint, like if Cat Williams got 55 plus million views, watched over at least 100 million times with those many views, then if let's just say, for example, if he did interview Taylor Swift, it'd get at least 100 million views easy.
It would, but I wouldn't watch it.
Yes, you would watch it.
No, I would. I'm telling you, I wouldn't.
I don't believe it.
Why? Why would I watch a Taylor Swift interview?
Because I don't know who. I would honestly, man, I don't know. I probably wouldn't watch it either, to be honest with you.
Right. I don't care nothing about Taylor Swift, so
I don't either.
I don't care about her thoughts, opinions, views, music, nothing.
That's yeah. No, but no, I honestly just called to agree with you, man. And what that one lady, man, I can't think of her name, who called Lincoln Ware earlier, basically was talking, basically saying the same thing you're saying, but she had different talking points. It's time for us to wake up and recognize that we are being attacked on so many levels. Our kids, our food, the entertainment, the private sector, the public sector. I mean, it's just hard for it. I don't know why they want to keep their foot on our neck. You may let some slip through the cracks, but again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I made a couple of jokes on you, Lincoln, and Raven earlier today about code switching. It just goes back to, yes, you will let a few in the crack, but sometimes it's the paper bag test as well. They don't want too many masculine black men up in those type of areas of things of that nature. Like it's just crazy, man. I just called to agree with you, man. I appreciate you taking my phone call, man.
B-Rab, I appreciate you calling.
Thanks, man.
All right, y'all. About the code switching thing earlier. First, I can't believe Lincoln didn't know what that was. And I'd like to say we all do it, but I don't know that I do it. I don't think I do it. But I think I make a concerted effort to not do it. And maybe I do it every once in a while. But if I do it, I'm making a concerted effort to do it. Like, it ain't like, I just shift into, I'm like, okay, I'm going to act this way for this purpose. I don't typically do it though. Maybe that's why I'm in my basement doing a show. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I, talk proper and play pickleball, I'd be balling somewhere. So, I don't know. I don't have a problem with people who do it. I don't have a problem with anything. I was just shocked that Lincoln didn't know what it was. Y'all, I think that's about it. Janice says, do what? Code switching. Code switching. I know what it is. I know it's a real thing. I know people do it. I don't think I do it regularly. When I do it, it's intentional. And when I say intentional, I had to put thought into it. Like, okay, I'm a act this way. Like, I had to genuinely do that. My niece says she code switch unintentionally all the time. Stop. Be you. Well, maybe not. You got a lot of money. It's working for you. Keep doing what you do. Keep doing what you do. So, yeah, okay. Y'all, I think that's about it. Lamont says he code switch every day. All right. LaDonna says, I don't know what it is. LaDonna, why you be frustrating me? I think you be doing that on purpose. You know what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? I go into the office. And instead of saying, I want to talk about a raise, I go in with my shirt and tie on and all that stuff. I'd like to discuss, maybe getting a raise. I'd like to talk about the possibility of a promotion. Just all those little things that you do. I change the pitch of my voice and, enunciate a little more. And as the guy called in earlier, I congregate my verbs better. He was going to say he congregate his verbs. He stopped himself short. But he said congregate, and then he stopped because I think he realized he jacked that word up. So I congregate my verbs a little better. Whereas me, I would just walk in because the general manager's name was Dan. I'd be like, hey, Dan, let's rap about this, man. I need a raise. Y'all ain't paying me enough. So what can we do about that? Instead of, can we discuss the possibility of a raise? I think I've earned it. Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm telling you, the way I'm talking to y'all right now is the way I talk to Dan. It's the way I talk when Kathy Hughes came in. It's the way I talked to Kathy Hughes. Everybody code switched that day. And I was like, why is she black? But everybody had on they white voice. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was, I even had somebody tell me, when the founder of the company comes in, then you show appreciation. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, y'all can do all that. I ain't do none of that stuff. It's like, what's up? Can I call you Katie? Because on my show, I always call you Katie. I pretend like we got a good relationship. And so now I'm comfortable calling you Katie. Can I call you Katie? She just looked at me and laughed. Now she's probably thinking, this fool. This fool. She was like, you call me Katie if you want to. It won't hurt my feelings. But my name is Kathy. I don't do that. I don't do it. I ain't got nothing against people who do it. Everybody that was there did it. Hi, Mrs. Hughes. Oh, it's so nice. And thank you for creating the company. Oh, we're so proud of you. You're a history-making woman. What's up, Katie? What's up, Katie? What's up? Genesis, I don't know where you came from. Sad. Being disrespectful is not changing. I wasn't disrespectful. I never said anything disrespectful to her. Matter of fact, she asked me about one of my ideas that she had heard. We sat and had a little chat. I was one of the few people that she actually sat and had a little chat with. She didn't use the idea. But she had mentioned that she was thinking about on TV One doing a reality show, because that's when all the, well, I mean, I guess they still are, but all the reality game shows, you know, Survivor and all that stuff was big. She was like, you know, I'm considering doing something about that with talk radio. She was like, but I don't know. She just said with radio, but I don't know exactly. I don't have an idea, but I just know I want to do it. And then somebody mentioned, well, Mrs. Hughes, and I got credit. It wasn't me who brought it up. Well, Mrs. Hughes, Emanuel Livingston came up with an idea, and they actually did it on the bus. And she was like, oh, really? What was it? And I was like, yeah, I had this idea, same thing about a reality show. And so we did it. We called it So You Think You Can Do This. And she was like, I would love to hear more about that. And so when she was finished with all of her butt kissing sessions, she asked me, like, tell me about the idea. And I told her the way that we did it. And she was like, oh, really? She was like, that's an interesting idea. So, I don't know. I don't do that. I don't do that. But I wasn't disrespectful. See, that's it. People think if you don't switch, you disrespectful. If you don't start, hi, Mrs. Hughes, I did this thing, and it was just such a nice thing, and we did it, and it worked, and I hope that you'll like it. Oh, you was disrespectful because you didn't code switch. No, I just didn't code switch. I'm me. I'm me. Did you dap up Kathy Hughes? No, I didn't dap up Kathy Hughes. Dante.
What's happening?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, hold on. I was trying to catch you before I got off work. I ended up catching you. Was still running off at the mouth. But
running off, okay. And then he hung up on himself. I didn't touch nothing. Y'all can see my hand just about. I didn't touch nothing. There he is. He back. Dante.
hello, sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I was calling about the stuff with the kids and all that.
All right.
My thing was, I think the kids should have to, like, if there is any financial restitution, the kids should have to pay it back. You know, give them work detail, give them something to do to pay these people back. Is what I think.
I understand that. I kind of agree. I think maybe if that's something that the parents can work out, but I think the parent, as the parent, you are financially responsible for the actions of your kids. Now, if you can talk to somebody and say, well, can my child work it off? Cool. But if not, you're financially responsible for the actions of your kids.
I mean, I can understand that, but I mean, I don't think letting the kids off scot-free, you know, because, I mean, it's a way for them to earn money if they're old enough. And any other time they put the kids on work detail or X, Y, and Z, you know, so why not put them on work detail? I don't know, sign them up to make them work at the Reds game on weekends and donate the money to the person that they hurt, or make them work at a Bengals game and donate the money to the person that they caused the injury to or whatever.
See,
I don't think keep making parents the scapegoat is a good thing.
I mean, I agree with you. I'm not against what you're saying. I agree, but I think it come to the point where I think that's an area where you can make parents involved, where you can say to the parent, you know, you're responsible for it. And then, you know, like if it's me, say you're responsible, Mr. Livingston. And I say, well, can we get a work detail or something so that he can work it off, or, you know, whatever, or here's the money. And then I'm like, Lil N, you going to go get a job because you paying me that money back, you know, or something. But I think,
I mean, it's like how they do people. Put them on the side of the road and make them pick up trash. I mean, grown people do work detail. They give them county work to do. You can do the same thing with kids
No,
at a certain age. I mean, I don't mean like a 9-year-old out here, but 13 to 16, 17. Give them work detail, man. Have them out here on the highway picking up trash and doing whatever they need to do.
I agree.
They do it with grown folks.
I don't disagree.
My thing was the guy called in and had the idea, whatever. I think a lot of it comes down to like to smooth out what he was saying. Like I think given like if a parent is shown to be unfit and just say you were to put them on probation, which I don't agree with, but if you were to put them on probation, well then you send them to some parent and kid classes. To help their parenting skills or X, Y, and Z, if you are to put them on probation. You can't just put somebody on probation and say, well, if your kid do something else, then you're going to jail. Well, you put them through parenting classes to kind of help them out or do whatever you can to kind of help them out if you find them to be neglecting their children. But I don't think locking a parent up is no kind of solution at all. I think that's crazy.
I agree with you.
That's crazy, man. Because I did a lot of things, man, that if my parents knew. I did things my parents still don't know I did, man. I'm 50 years old, man.
Right.
Right. So, and I knew better. It was just, I mean, I was a pretty good kid. Sometimes I ran with the wrong crowd sometimes, or some of my friends were bad. I knew what they were doing was bad. I might have stood around the corner till they was done or went down the street till they was done because I knew better. I knew if I got caught, I knew what was coming to me. So I would get involved in the crime after the fact. You know what I mean? Like if my friends went to Kroger and steal, well, I'll wait down the street. Well, they come back with some candy bars. I want one. You know what I mean? But I knew better, man. I knew better. And I shouldn't even, in my mom's eyes, I shouldn't even been affiliated to want a stolen candy bar.
Exactly.
But I knew better, and I did it.
Did it anyway.
It was just a little peer pressure and growing up. But my mom had nothing to do with that. My dad had nothing to do with that. That was all on me, man.
All right.
So
we agree.
All right, y'all. All right. Have a good one, man. Thanks.
All right, Dante.
All right.
All right, y'all. I got to get out of here. I saw what somebody was saying. Something still going on between Dumas and Reese. Two grown women can't figure it out, rallying their posses to make the other one look bad. And I know y'all think it's all one person, but who was it that told me you can't have a argument by yourself? So if one of them just stops like that, it don't matter what you say, I'm gonna ignore you. Then it stops. So I don't know. I hope they get it all together. Either way, I support both them sisters. I hope they get it together. I hope they get it together. Y'all, I got to get out of here. I appreciate everybody. I had to go get this little one something to eat, even though she claiming she not hungry. She don't ever eat. It get on my nerves. Vincent says it's embarrassing on a lot of levels. Vincent, don't be embarrassed by it. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not embarrassed by it. Because I'm not responsible for what she does, and I'm not responsible for what she does. I'm responsible for what I do. To some degree, I'm responsible for what the little baby do. But I'm not responsible for them. White people beef all the time. White people get into it all the time. Remember, on even white people on the same side of an issue. Remember when, what was it, Marjorie Taylor Greene called, who was the other goofy one? What is her name? The brown hair goofy chick. She just switched from Colorado. I can't think of her name. But y'all know who I'm talking about. She called her the B word. Boebert, Lauren Boebert. She called her a B word. They beefing back and forth all the time. They kicked the Speaker of the House out because they couldn't get along. And then they almost got into a fist fight on the floor of the House of Representatives. Matt Gaetz and I don't remember who it was with. They almost got into a literal fist fight on the floor of the House of Representatives. And I'm going to be embarrassed because two sisters can't get along right now. It go back to the stuff I be saying. Like, we look at that stuff and we like, oh, it's so embarrassing. Oh, it's so embarrassing. These two sisters should be able to get along. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I didn't hear white conservatives talking about how embarrassed they was that they almost got into a fist fight on the floor of the House of Representatives. That didn't represent their race. That was just two people. When Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert was going at it, I didn't hear white people, oh, I'm so embarrassed by this. No, because it don't represent their race. Those are two people. We let all this negative stuff represent the race. It doesn't. I'm not embarrassed. Maybe they should be embarrassed because they're the ones doing it. But I'm not embarrassed because it's not me. And they don't represent me. But that's just me. Now, my own brother, he's against me. He's against me. So I got a niece that's against me and a brother that's against me. My brother says I was more than a little embarrassed, E-Man. If you watch that video, I think you may be too. Are you against me? No, he's not against me. I'm just being silly. But he says, good point. But haven't blacks in leadership always been held to a different and higher standard? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not what somebody else does. You know, like, if it's an actual reflection on me, then maybe. But if it's not, no. Doesn't embarrass me. They should be embarrassed. But all right, y'all, I got to get out of here. I said it was going to be a short show. It wasn't a short show. One of these days, I'm going to do a short show. One of these days, it's going to happen. Again, I appreciate all y'all hanging out with me. I plan on being here tomorrow. So, probably same time. Because, you know, I got to pick up the little baby. What I'm doing, which I would love to see more people do. I heard Lincoln earlier. I really shouldn't talk about this because I said I'm going. But I heard Lincoln earlier talking about a DoorDash driver who left her 2-year-old in the car with the car running, doing a delivery, and the car got stolen. They found the baby and all that kind of stuff. But when I hear stories like that, I don't get mad at the mama. I don't get mad at the mama. I feel like, where is her support system? Where is the mama's support system? Where's the daddy? Well, maybe the daddy at work. I don't know. But where's the daddy? Why the daddy can't keep the 2-year-old while the mama work? If the daddy can't keep the 2-year-old, where is your mama and your daddy? Or the daddy's mama and daddy? Or your brother or your sister or your cousin or your somebody? Where is your support system? And I want us as just people, not just black people. I want us as people to be much more of a support system to the people who need us. I pick her up Tuesdays and Thursdays. Guess why? Because her mama worked on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays and Fridays, she worked late. So she needs somebody to pick her up. The daddy can't do it because he work. Now maybe, some of his brothers or sisters or whatever can do it. Maybe. But I can. So I'm going to be there to be my daughter's support system. I'm going to be there for that purpose. Well, she grown. She made these decisions. Yeah, and I'm here to help her. And every time I hear about somebody doing a DoorDash or Lyft or whatever, and they got the baby with them and something bad happened, and my mind automatically goes to, where's their support system? It's not bad to be a support system. You're not helping make somebody irresponsible and all that kind of stuff. You can help. You babysit your granddaughter. I don't babysit her. That's my granddaughter. She be here. You know what I'm saying? This is like, as far as I'm concerned, this is her house. So are you babysitting? No. My granddaughter with me. You know what I'm saying? If you can be a support system, be a support system. Don't make, in particular, but it's not just women, because men suffer the same thing, but don't make these young women or older women, don't make these people have to make these terrible decisions. If you can step in and say, all right, I'll watch the baby while you go do your stuff. I keep the kid. They can stay here. I watch them. No, you ain't got to pay me. My daughter always be, I need to pay you. I want to pay you. The daycare would cost this and this would cost that. And I'm like, I ain't daycare. I'm not babysitting. My granddaughter is at my house. Nobody has to pay me for that. And I just get so sad. A case like that. Now, maybe she doesn't have that support system. Because, there are people who, grew up in, foster care and all that kind of stuff, and they don't know their parents. And, sometimes foster care parents really step in and step up. What are you doing, little baby? Sometimes they don't step in and step up, and so once that check ain't coming in no more, you out, and so you don't have a support system. And can you imagine how sad and lonely that has to be? I got literally no relatives and nobody that seems to love and care about me. And so now I'm in a position where I got to leave my kid in a running car while I run upstairs to deliver some food. And then the car gets stolen. And now we mad at her. Are you irresponsible parent, you? And all she really needed was a support system. Somebody that would say, I'll keep him. Go ahead, go to work. Don't worry about it. Got it. So just think about that, when we get mad at people for stuff, trying to punish people for stuff. Sometimes think about extenuating circumstances. All right, that's it for real. That's it for real. I got to get out of here. I appreciate everybody. Happy Black History Month. I feel like it should be a word for the day, but I don't have one. So I'll just say, if you're out and about, be the reason that somebody smiles. Maybe know a little something about Black history. Till next time.